What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bay Area Boys Podcast, where we talk about everything in the Bay Area.
With the boys. Almost forgot that one.
You could cut it pretty well. You know what's weird is just having to look forward and not speak to you.
Yeah, we're switching things up a little bit.
We're switching things up. I feel like we're on a Zoom call, but you're right next to me, and I don't really know how to feel.
Yeah, and I want to look at you, but I don't want to look at you.
I don't know how to feel about that. And this was your idea, so that's what I feel like it is. I feel like this is a personal slight to me.
I wanted to be more intentional to our listeners. You know, we have great banter. I just don't think they're ready for it yet. And I want to give some more value.
I like to give value.
Yeah.
Can I say, I feel like I was doing a pretty good job at that when I felt like I was making a good point of actually giving the clients and the lot watchers that type of value.
I will say when I was doing our short form timestamps last night for episode 4, there was some really good ones in there. And I think you need to start doing some timestamps on your own because I'm a little selfish with mine. So it's like, you got to, you know what I mean? Because I know what I want to hear myself say. I don't really know, because there was some stuff on there where I saw like you had commented, you're like, don't put that in there. So I don't want to put,
Did I do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I called a realtor out.
So that's what I'm saying. Like there was ones where I'd be like, oh, that one's good. But then I'm like, I don't want to have them timestamp it. And then we pay for it. And then you're like, I don't want, you know what I mean? I don't want that.
Yeah. I'm not trying to call realtors out. I was just in the heat of the moment. You know, I get a little riled up.
Yeah. But it was really good though. Like it was educational.
Was it? Or was I more just
No, it was educational.
Putting someone on
blast. Even me, there's like one where I said, where I was like, people in your market overprice. And I think that would be good. But I think that would be, so I think that would cause some conversation and
I'm worried people aren't going to like me, you know?
Yeah.
I just got so real there.
I feel that.
But it's the truth. I'm like, oh no, please, everyone. I promise I'm nice. I'm not just like talking shit constantly about people because I'm not. It's more of a whole. Yeah. It's more of a overarching issue for our entire market.
But I mean, real estate agents are catty in general. Right?
I'm petty as hell.
So, I mean, if we're just being transparent about it, we're not like saying it's like any single person. It's just more as an area or as a group.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, okay, I've just realized what this kind of vibe is giving me. News anchors.
Yep.
I feel like we
both have our...
Yeah, we just need like a stack of papers to adjust and film and stuff.
I don't want to be a news anchor. I'm wearing a Raiders...
Well, you could... What's
that was
wrong?
actually a great game, by the way.
What's wrong with being a news anchor?
There's nothing. I just don't want it. That's not the vibe I'm going for.
You gotta be more cool.
Yeah.
You gotta be more laissez-faire attitude.
Exactly.
Cool and laid back. Hey, we're not giving the news. We're giving the events of the day.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm not like that.
Okay, well.
All right, so we got a good few topics on the Bay Area because we got to get back to the Bay Area.
Yes,
we got to get back to about, telling people, all of our thousands of listeners, that what's happening in the Bay Area.
I agree. Sometimes I will say deviating and going a little bit more macro isn't bad because there are some things nationally that affect locally. But yes, our main focus, as our name implies, is about Bay Area. But I don't mind taking a bigger picture to subsequently give it more focus on how it's going to affect our area.
Yeah.
Right?
But staying on brand, ultimately. Staying
up. That's our mission statement.
Yeah.
Is staying on brand.
BAB.
SABBAB.
Yep. Yes.
Nailed
okay.
it.
So we got Bay Area WNBA expansion and the Warriors' involvement in it. So the Bay Area is reportedly in the final stages of securing a WNBA expansion team. Joe Lacob, which is the Golden State Warriors owner, said
Hold on. It's Joe Lacob, please.
Joe Lacob?
That is absolutely not how you say his name, and I really need you to know that.
Joe Lacob said to be in talks to own this potential team. So I believe that, of course, all of our Warriors and their influence, I think Steph and Draymond and Clay would influence a lot of people to really support this WNBA team, where I think, in general, WNBA doesn't get, I wouldn't say they don't get support, they just don't get a lot of viewership.
They get a lot of support. The NBA actually funds the WNBA to give it the financial support it needs. But yeah, I mean, it's the fans and the general public, it needs more support. And what better cheerleaders to do that than a few future Hall of Famers that are like royalty in the Bay Area at this point. And that, I think they need to take the torch, because I don't know if you know who was one of, if not the biggest supporter of the WNBA in the NBA when he was alive, RIP, was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was was a huge fan and champion of the WNBA. He was going to games, sitting courtside, constantly taking his daughters, who also played basketball as well. So I think there hasn't really been a big star champion of the WNBA. And so I think if we got a
Lisa
team,
Leslie, right?
I'm talking about for the NBA. On the men's side of it. There's tons of people who support it. I just mean an active NBA player who is vocal and active in that realm of things. I think who better than Steph? Steph and Dre and Clay and all the Warriors that we all know and love at this point. I think that would go a really long way to helping not only a team here survive but thrive.
Yeah.
As well.
I think the more that the stars and now Chris Paul too, like they attend these, I think it's going to get more people to go too, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's any sort of endorsement, right? That's how endorsements kind of work. And so I think if they can get behind it and really make a push for it, I think it could really work here, because it's funny when you think of big market teams, right? The New Yorks and the Orlandos and the Texas ones, you don't think of
Texas ones.
Well, all the ones. I just mean all the Texas teams: Dallas Mavericks,
Houston Rockets,
and the San Antonio Spurs. Right, big market areas. And so you don't really think too much of the Bay Area, LA even in that market too. But the Bay Area, especially with the Warriors, is one of the biggest sports markets in the nation. And you don't think about it because it's not as big as a lot of those areas are. But man, it is a monetary powerhouse for sports here in the Bay Area. And so. Even I can't believe there hasn't been a WNBA team here already, but from the cities that it could go to, it's a perfect fit.
Yeah, I think it's just a big undertaking as an owner.
Oh yeah, of course.
As a profitability standpoint. So that's probably why it hasn't happened yet. But I think now, for how much the Warriors have built such an insane organization, and then probably built systems and a business model around it, they think they can do the same thing.
I think so too. I mean, the Warriors ownership is one of, if not arguably the best in all of sports basketball, and all sports, period. I mean, their ownership is crazy good. And so, and just because that's how they run their organization, while they're always winners, because from the top down, they are class act A+ through and through. So I think them taking on a tough project, because, I mean, just again, from a business standpoint, taking on a WNBA team is tough. You're right. You're fighting a little bit against the grain, against the stream a little bit. But if anybody can make a team successful here, I think it's Lacob and the ownership of the Warriors.
Joe Lacob, love him. All right. So despite no finalized deal yet, the Warriors expressed enthusiasm about the possibility of being part of the league's expansion. So since the WNBA's WNBA's 2022 expansion announcement, the Bay Area has been considered a prime location for the new franchise. So, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Does it go? Everything always falls through here. Everything. It's always like proposal, exciting, fun. It's dead in the water.
Yeah, I think that's more for. I feel like that's more for business undertakings, because I feel like, and this is
developments too.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is things that cost money and that are more of a long-term project. I feel like they take a look at what that cost is going to be, because California, as we've talked in past episodes, is so expensive to have a business, to run a business, to build a business, whatever you want to call it. It takes a lot of money to start something up. A WNBA team, you can start up and start seeing revenue obviously within year one, because it just starts. And it probably takes a few years, like any business. You always think new business takes 4 or 5 years to start turning over revenue. When you have a development, I mean, it could take you 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. I mean, some of the developments we've talked about are like 20 years out. That's so much money before you start making a return on it. And sometimes halfway through or a few years in, you go, we just reran the numbers because things got more expensive, or there were, I don't know, COVID happened, and now we have to put everything on pause and everything's more expensive now. Things fall through because they recalculate all the numbers, and for bigger projects, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
But I think for projects like this that can be implemented pretty quickly to start gaining revenue on it again. And sports is one of those things where if you get into owning a team, you make money hand over fist. WNBA, a little asterisk because it is not as popular as some of the other sports and it is still kind of a growing business, but it's a good bet. It's a good bet that you're going to be subsidized also by the NBA to where even if you don't start making mega returns first year in the WNBA, you know that you have kind of a safety net there to give you that time to help you try to build it into something that can support itself.
Yeah, yeah. So if this expansion happens, the new WNBA team would practice at Warriors Oakland facility and then play games at Chase Center. I feel like they'd have a little bit of a tough time filling out Chase Center, though. I'd probably take a little while, right?
Have you ever been to an NBA game before? Yeah. You have? What? No, I take that as a no.
Oh man.
What?
Yeah, yes. I've been to quite a few, Matthew.
I was just asking a question.
Yeah.
That wasn't a gotcha.
I like the dig, dude.
That wasn't a gotcha. I was actually asking a question.
So okay, go on. Yes, I've been to a few.
So my point is, they don't sell out, right? They're not at that point yet.
I mean, yeah, but Warriors games for the most part. I mean, it's the Warriors.
That's my point. I'm talking about WNBA games because I used to have a client, if you want to call it. When I worked in my restaurants, I had a customer who would come in, a regular, and they had Sacramento Monarchs tickets, and they would regularly give them to me so I could go and go to the city and go to somewhere nice to eat and then watch the game because I knew I liked sports and basketball. And at the time, I was dating someone who played basketball for college, so it worked. It was a nice little outing. It was a great game, but it's not as busy and packed as NBA games.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is. So no, they're probably not going to sell out Chase Center right away. But I think that's if you're going to have an NBA team, put them in one of the newest stadiums in the NBA just to have that, and that's cool as hell. I think people will go just for the chance to go see a basketball game in that stadium.
Yeah. You just kind of get an experience of the stadium, right?
Exactly.
For like half the price.
Yeah, for a lot cheaper of a ticket price. You still get to go see basketball. You still get to go experience the new high-tech, awesome Chase Center that it is. Yeah. Because right now it's either basketball games or the concerts that play there are, like the Taylor Swifts or the Bruce Springsteens or the ones that the ticket prices are hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Do you want to shout out the X, the college player X?
No.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, it would be pretty cool, though, if they did play at the Oakland facility and it was like a little more packed.
I would love, that'd be great. I would 100% go to that. That'd be awesome.
So a suggested deal was supposed to be, or, would have potentially been finalized as early as October. Obviously, we're in November now, so it didn't happen. John, do you want to look up what the average WNBA team makes, like what the revenue looks like? I think that'd be kind of interesting.
WNBA,
yeah. Oh, just NBA.
It's fine, dude. It knows what you're talking about.
N is in Nancy.
Oh, sorry.
You're all good, dude. It would have picked it up anyways.
WNBA
team revenue.
Yeah, team revenue. Wow. So even then, they're grossly underpaying them, the players.
Yeah, well, I mean, that comes down to business, right? Like if something only generates so much money, it's tough. They can't get paid more because they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. So the number we're seeing here on screen is 60 million. Is as of 2022, the WNBA generated 60 million. That's the WNBA as a whole.
Yes.
Okay, that's where I was saying that's what they're gross.
No.
That was the average the team.
Yeah.
What is the average value of a WNBA team? How about click that one?
Probably a couple million.
66 million.
Let's see.
That's the average worth. So about two.
No, that's.
Oh, we're selling for about 2 million just a few years ago. Wow.
What? This is
SL.
That's soccer.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
National Women's Soccer League.
Mm-hmm.
We're selling for 22 and the team
Our
is now
WNBA
66. Yeah.
WNBA teams make
It's not 66 million.
No, so go down a little bit, Johnny. And how does our WNBA teams making money?
Yeah.
League revenues in 2019 were around $100 million.
Yeah. Well, because then you got to think, right? Like it has to pay its owners, players, staff, right? Everything, which is still good. I'm not saying that that's.
But I feel like players are, I mean, obviously are the highest paid. So like if like these WNBA players are making like 80 to 100,000.
I think they're making a little bit more than that.
No,
the top ones are.
Yeah, top, but that's like how many?
Yeah, I'd say your
I think the
player,
average is 100.
Yeah, just about.
So like what are people making and living in San Francisco?
Yeah.
But all right, we'll see. Hopefully a WNBA team does end up coming to the Bay Area here. Stay tuned on that. We'll update you guys if we hear some more about that. Next, we're moving on to California's changing migration patterns. You want to take this one over?
Yeah, no, you go for it, bud.
Okay.
You're the stats guy.
So California's relocation trends are showing a modest shift with a 3% drop in departures and a 10% increase in new residents from other states in 2022. Wouldn't that put us at a positive?
Not necessarily.
I'm not necessarily a mathematician here, but
let me field this one for you, bud.
Please.
Okay, just for
please. I guess I thought I was the stats guy, but
just from a very blown up example.
Yeah.
If we had an 80% leaving rate and a 20% influx rate, that can lower by 3% towards a 77% leave rate.
Right over my head, but I like where your head's at.
Okay, I gotcha. Yes, it just means that less people are leaving.
Yeah.
And more people have been coming in.
Got it. Okay.
In
That makes a lot more
since
sense.
in the past.
Yeah.
So it's still more people leaving.
So we're
overall.
up 10% people coming, we're down 3% people leaving.
Correct.
Boom. Love it.
See, yeah, you got it.
All right, so state's exodus pattern contributing to its first recorded population shrinkage is showing signs of change. Nationally, there was a 5% increase in Americans making interstate relocations in 2022 compared to 2021. So California as a whole lost 817,000, almost 818,000 residents to other states in 2022, the highest among all states. However, this outflow decreased by 3%. With only New York experiencing a larger drop in exit. So that tells me, let's start harping on New York a little bit.
Yeah, where's the New York hate at?
I know.
It's always just California. Well, because again, you know how you know how high school works. You want to know why everybody picked on the popular kid? Because they're all jealous. They're all jealous. Oh, he's so popular. What a loser. Oh, he's so popular. Ugh, what? He's probably stupid. Oh, he's so popular. It's like, hey, you're kind of coming. Not me. I was the one talking about the popular. I wasn't a popular kid in high school. That was me because I was jealous.
It sounds like there's a lot of resentment there. Like
there was, and I admit it, and I know that now. My point being is California's the popular.
Yeah.
The popular kid in school, and everyone will take a dig at the popular school, especially when that popular kid gets in a little bit of trouble, right? Or they find out he has like a C average instead of a B or A average, and like, see, he's not so great. Yeah. They're not so great. They are horrible people. And people just want to take their shots when they can because they love it when the mighty have fallen.
So the thing about it though is that like I always hear about people, like, oh, like you're never once you go to New York, you're not leaving. You know what I mean? Or like New York is just, oh, it's this, it's that. I don't ever hear anybody say that about California though. You know what I mean? Like I moved to California, I'm never leaving California. Like I don't hear that as much as I hear like New York.
My parents. That was my parents. My parents my mom and dad lived in Michigan and Chicago respectively. And when they moved to California, they were like, we're never coming back or we're never leaving. We're never coming back to where we came from. Yeah. This is such a better place.
Yeah.
I think you don't hear that often because I think it's anywhere that's expensive to live right now, especially in the last 5-ish years or so, which is when a lot of the stats have been really coming out, have been the most expensive places to live. Hence New York, California, all those places that people are now leaving in droves and talking all this crap about is because they're expensive. And what do people hate more than anything when they feel like something is overpriced? I mean, think how many people do we show, hey, this house is for $800,000, and everyone around the country who doesn't live in a expensive state
Yeah.
is like 800,000. I could buy 50 houses with that money. It's like, okay.
Damn, dude,
And
you're coming after helmets right now.
Well, I'm just saying. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, yeah, of course. You know, it's
But
like,
that's my point. Is when people, when they see something
But
that they feel like is
To our
overvalued.
Texas people, we understand.
Well,
like,
that could have been.
You don't all talk.
That
like
could have been a lot of places.
I mean, you had a little Alabama twang in there.
I'm just saying. I could have. And okay. All I'm saying is
just setting the precedent.
it's
here.
normally people from less expensive states, which is usually from the South. That is not an indictment whatsoever. It's just fact. When they look at those and say, I can buy a house in Kentucky, Alabama for a third of that price.
Yeah.
And it's a mansion of a home. So when people, they love to do that. They love to put their opinion on when they see things like that. And so the major expensive cities, San Francisco, California, LA, get a lot of that that sort of attitude from people.
Yeah. This is wild though. So Californians welcomed almost 476,000 residents from other states, ranking third behind Florida and Texas. So does this seem off to you?
Wait, is that true?
It's in the note. Yes. I mean, this is from a very reputable article that I digested and turned into notes. So, I mean, if they're wrong.
Wait, where does it say that?
So California welcomed 475,000 residents from other states, ranking third behind Florida and Texas.
Okay.
So wouldn't that make
But then it said the state experienced a 10% growth in arrivals, ranking 15th among states.
Well, a 10% growth. Yeah, I mean I guess it's been there the whole time.
Yeah, so we had the most people moving in California, which is per capita a 10% growth, and so 15th among states, which is still top third of the states.
Yeah.
So people are still coming back to California. Let me ask you this. Do you think that a lot of the moves and the exodus happened? I know a lot of people talked about price. It still is as expensive as it was when they all left 3-ish plus years ago, if not more expensive now because prices keep going up. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's a lot of that was politically driven? Because I do.
Yeah.
How many? Because there were a lot of Republicans that were like, if Biden is president, I'm just like, when Trump was like the president, people were like, I'm leaving the country if Trump, which nobody did.
I also think government driven.
But that's what I mean. Politically government driven.
Do you call that for what, I guess we'll just call it for what it is. Like, I mean, I know I heard a lot of people that were done when it came to COVID.
Yeah.
So is that, would you call that political?
100%.
I don't think that was the big thing though. I think at the end of the day, people in general cash out in California and they go to the next cheaper place. That's all part of migration.
Absolutely.
So but I also do think, and I really do need to do better research on this, but I've, keep hearing that the majority of people that do leave the Bay Area go to Sacramento. So they're still staying in California.
Mm-hmm. They just go somewhere cheaper.
Exactly.
More affordable.
Migration, right? So it's, I'm sure a lot to do with that. I doubt that I don't know. I wonder if there's studies out there.
Yeah, and I think price does have a lot to do with it because most of the homeowners, as we know in our areas, are of the boomer generation. They bought their houses for $200,000 and sold it for $2 million. So of course they thought, well, then I'm going to sell now and get the hell out of here and go to a state where this money goes a lot farther. But I do think that there is a lot of politically driven exodus. I have people in my family who left California after some major political events happened.
Really?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And so I've experienced that. I've seen that. And they've said, we are leaving because of ABC, XYZ. Yeah. And I'm not trying to make a statement on either side. I'm just saying,
you've drawn your line in the sand at this point.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think people who know me know what I'm for. But my point is, that's why I'm not disparaging one side or the other. I'm just saying I have people that I know in my direct family who left for political reasons. Nice. And they can't be the only ones.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that was a driver, maybe not the main one. I still think price is the end all be all of why people move. It just is. But I really do think that was a reason. And there were certain clients that I work with who dropped some hints that they were leaving because of some of those reasons.
Yeah. What, if you did have to leave the state to go move somewhere within the U.S., what state would that be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Oh,
I think it would be better if you guess which state the other person would go to.
Okay.
Ooh,
so
that's
Johnny
good.
Johnny says I should guess what state Matt would move to if he had to leave California.
okay. And so let's do this. Let's make money no object. Let's just make it for like what the state is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't be like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I would choose,
Okay.
West Virginia because
Okay,
it's
so not
affordable.
from a realistic standpoint.
No.
Okay.
I want to know what state you think fits me best if I had to leave, or what you think it would not necessarily fits me. Where you think I would go?
You don't like water. You like snow?
Dude, I'm not gonna tell you anything.
I would probably say
You're my best friend in the world, Roland. You should know this answer.
I would
No pressure.
Damn, dude, I'm like these states are running through my mind right now.
I know, and you're afraid to say, just start going, dude.
I'm gonna say New York.
New York
No,
would be.
that wouldn't. Yeah, because you don't really go out like that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
So-
But
but I was
let
thinking
me
'cause
tell
of
you
food.
that was
Yeah.
what I was thinking. I was like, ooh, there's such good food there. That would be what I would really like go. There's
you
food
enjoy it because of that.
and there's entertainment.
Yeah.
Where I'm not going to go out
And
to
the arts.
clubs, but
Yeah.
arts, music, entertainment.
Yeah.
That's up there. That's a great answer for me, for sure.
Yeah. I was gonna say Florida, but like I don't really see that either. It's because like water and sun and shit like that. It's
Yeah,
not
but
really.
but the thing is, it's sunny though, which I really like. So I think instead of Florida, I think I choose Arizona over Florida, or like New Mexico area.
Ooh, that's odd.
Yeah,
That's odd.
I like hot. I like dry heat. I do. So it's summer all the time,
Yeah.
basically, which is what I love.
Yeah.
Never rains, which
Yeah,
is what
I
I love.
could see you like retiring like Palm Springs.
Oh man, absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah. I think New York. I would go to Florida for sure.
Okay.
for sure, because there are a lot
So
of
which one is
amenities. I think if I had to choose over New York or Florida, I would choose Florida. If I
Okay,
had to
so that was
choose
my
one of
second.
those.
That was my
Yeah,
second.
if I had to choose one of those two, it would be one of those.
All
two.
right. Your turn.
I could see you going to. Oh, there's a couple other places that I'm thinking about now, but that's okay. I could see you going to South Carolina or North Carolina. Either one of those two. Raleigh. I think. Have you been there before?
I have not,
I
but,
think
but I
you'd-
wouldn't do it.
I think you'd enjoy that.
But you're wrong. So
Okay, but I'm just saying I
you're
think you'd
like
enjoy
you're
it.
way off.
But you also don't know, so you've never been there.
I can tell you, I wouldn't move anywhere that had 6 months of snow.
Okay, so I think you'd like Texas, dude.
Hell no. You're off again, dude. Hawaii, baby.
Okay,
What? That's the U.S., dude. Are we not on U.S.
I
soil?
know it is. I feel
Come
like
on.
that's cheating, though.
Okay, well, if
I
it
feel
was-
like that's cheating.
okay, so if it was second, it'd probably be Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah, because beaches and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Hawaii. No, not to Hawaii. Again, that's cheating. That's a cheat code.
I don't think that's cheating at all.
Did you ever play GoldenEye
Do you think that's-
007?
do you think that's- Of course I did. Do you think that's cheating?
That's like you choosing odd job in multiplayer. That is 100% cheating. You can't. No odd job.
You guys did say money was no factor. It was just about personality.
Exactly. You rode with
okay,
it. You rode
if
with
we're
that,
talking
dude.
about personality, dude, you are not a Hawaii personality.
No, I am though.
No, you are not.
Oh,
dude.
you mean like personality in the sense of like wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and like saying like hang loose and shit? Like I don't know what you like. What do you mean? Like,
yeah,
what do you
dude.
mean?
Yes.
No, I am because I love the ocean. I love swimming in the ocean. I scuba dive. I snorkel.
Are you scuba certified?
Yes.
What does scuba stand for?
Safety.
Oh, no.
I don't know. That wasn't on the fucking test, so it doesn't matter.
Roland.
Anyways, love the food.
Self-contained underwater diving
Yeah,
apparatus. Breathing apparatus.
Yes.
You're the one who's
All right,
certified.
anyways, hold on. Just let me finish up. Let me finish my thing.
Go ahead.
Food is great there. Love
Yeah.
the food there. They do have a good Harley scene there.
Do they really?
Yes. The thing that's wild is people ride with no helmets out there.
Is that legal there?
Yeah.
Do they all ride with lays on? 'Cause
Weather's
that'd be so
amazing.
cute.
Weather's amazing. There's so many different types of nature you can go to there. It's different climates even.
Yeah.
So extreme. Everybody's, just slow pace.
That's a good choice.
Yeah,
that is a good choice. I feel like it's still a cheat, but good choice.
Yeah. Well, can't win them all.
What were we talking about?
We're going on to the next topic. But that was a good round.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, so Mr. Gavin Newsom is back in headlines. Don't say woo, dude.
Oh, sorry. No?
Not right now.
Did I tell you that?
Not right now.
Did I tell you that when I went to a friend's wedding in Texas? I don't think. Did I tell you this?
Yeah. Did
I talk about this on the podcast?
I don't think so.
How everybody was calling me Gavin Newsom the whole time.
Nice. I started a movement.
Oh man, that was good. It was fun to do.
All right, so Gavin Newsom
Okay.
signed over 50 housing bills aimed at addressing California's housing crisis and tenant protections. I'm going to be honest, man. I don't think we need that much more tenant protections. But
we have a lot.
I do agree with this one he did. I think some others can be scaled back. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. Starting next year, homeowners can sell granny units, which are ADUs essentially. Religious institutions can build housing. I'm very, very skeptical about this one. And developers can add homes along the coast in previously restricted areas. That's
Okay.
another one.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's touchy for California.
Let's break those down. Let's dive into each one. So selling a granny unit, in-law, ADU, whatever you want to call it, whatever the terminology you have is, I feel like that's a huge opportunity.
I think it is and it isn't. I think it's a huge opportunity in the sense of if just like anybody that owns a home, and the pros that come along with it is if you get into a pinch, if something happens, if there's a life choice that you really need to get some cash quick, being able to sell that and not have to sell your primary home that you have to live in, I think that's a huge opportunity for homeowners. I think it does increase overall property values for people that do have ADUs on their property.
Oh, for sure. Because then it's almost like a multi-unit in a sense if you buy both of them.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. We're going to have to venture into a whole new market of like the ADU market?
Yeah, and that's what's weird too is a lot of ADUs aren't separately metered. So they're not like a duplex, they're not like a triplex.
Right.
So I do really wonder how that would work. But I do know one of the big requirements, huge requirements of this law is that you have to establish an HOA, a homeowners association, for that ADU if you are going to sell it. So, I mean, which makes really a lot of sense to me because if you were to sell that ADU, you don't want some demon just wrecking the whole property. You know what I mean? Like it has to be, there has to be some.
So that's my next question then. Is it going to be like buying a mobile home and you are basically paying a space rent?
Could be.
Because if you think about it, one of the nice things about buying a single family residential home is you own the land. That's going to be interesting is how they either parcel that out or, like you said, having a HOA governing body to where the person then pays a fee that they own everything bolts in, but nothing land wise. That's like, there's so much to unpack, I feel.
Yeah. So I know there's a lot to unpack, Matt.
Yeah, I know. I just said that. I was asking you for like your insight here.
Oh, my insight of like,
what you feel about
No, yeah,
that.
there's a ton to it. I mean, it's just got signed, right? So, I mean, I'm sure that they're going to establish things, take things away, add things, and it's going to be a moving target. But I do know this as well. It's going to be by city. Like, not every city is going to opt in. It's up to the city if they want to opt in for this.
Can you think of any off the top of your head that wouldn't do that? Like, that you would really?
100%.
Who?
Danville, Lafayette, Orinda, Walnut Creek, Alamo.
Why do you feel like that's the case?
Because they are big on their being uniform.
Like uniformity?
Yeah. They're very, very big on that, and they're very big at not, people with money can make a stink. And I think they're big on not rocking ships over there.
Do you feel like doing that would open up to make it almost like people who live in a apartment complex kind of a thing, how they would feel
100%.
about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't want somebody next to me that makes this much amount of income
Right? Is
moving
that,
in.
like, yeah, I guess that would
100%.
be the case.
Yeah, I would say just cities who are
Man.
extremely restricted in housing. Oakland, Oakland and El Sobrante and maybe El Cerrito, maybe cities like Martinez, maybe cities like Concord, who
Maybe cities like Benicia.
I think Benicia would be one of those cities.
I think so too.
That would
possibly be like, no, we're not changing, because that's their whole thing.
Yeah.
They do not like to change in any way, shape, or form.
I think Richmond, Oakland, El Sobrante, cities like those would be very, very on board.
I think Fairfield, Vacaville, those larger cities as well might be a little more on board too, because it isn't so small and insulated.
Yeah.
It is big and vast, and I think there's the space to be able to do that. Yeah.
So SB 423 is another one where it's streamlining housing. So this basically just means that there are less red tape, less things that whoever's building, developers need to have to go through, and the turn times it takes to get this housing up, and all the extra money it takes. So huge need on that. So there's some things that of course needed to be signed. There's some things that are a little bit just odd, right? Just changes that we have to kind of work through.
Yeah, I think the less red tape is almost always a good thing, especially when it comes to housing. Benicia, just in the last few years, got rid of so much of their red tape as far as making ADUs or being ADU compliant in a property. It is so simple now. I mean, they made it like basically 4 bullet points. You need to have enough access between the fences and the plot lines of your house. You have to have its own access. And that's basically it, other than the construction of the house itself. But as far as what you can build on a plot, it is so easy to do it now because they want to make it so it's easier to do that in Benicia. They really made it a lot simpler.
SB 35, this allows developers bypassing approval process for multifamily housing in cities falling behind on housing goals. A lot of you, if you don't know, Bay Area almost as a whole is super behind on housing that they need to provide in order for them to be within legal parameters. So this aims to cut costs, deliver housing efficiency, and includes construction in certain coastal areas. So they're probably approving this construction in coastal areas because of the housing shortage that they're behind on. Yes, in God's backyard, SB4. This is an odd one.
This one's interesting.
Yeah. So this rezones land owned by religious organizations for affordable housing, also known as Yes in God's Backyard, YIGB. SB4 opens up 171,000 acres of land for affordable housing, addressing the housing crisis. Thoughts?
I feel like, to me, my first thought when I read this, and we talked about it a little bit before we started recording, was I feel like they would be highly incentivized to build property on those areas because obviously one of the best things you can do is invest in real estate. Mm-hmm. And as we know, most churches and organized religion in that sense have a lot of money and untaxed money. And I feel like them being able to put it into basically becoming developers is like a huge possibility and option for them to be able to do.
One of the things, though, that I do think that they could do is, affordable housing can be rentals.
Yeah.
So they could be just a giant rental developer now.
Yeah.
And they have no taxes to pay. So think about just
cash
what religions may be able to do now from a money standpoint and be able to create a renter nation with the land that they own. And with the land that they can buy and the land that they can own.
Yeah. That would, I feel like they would just become another conglomerate that we're dealing with right now that is buying up a bunch of homes and complexes. And we are the personal goal of owning property is starting to become harder and harder because so many of these major companies are purchasing the homes from out from under people because they have obviously more buying power, more opportunity to do so. And that would just be another organization that owns housing for people.
Yeah. I just don't see them, if they have so much money.
So much.
And it's not, and then not being taxed on top of that. I just don't see them turning around and just saying, we're going to open this up for all of you guys to buy.
Yeah, they could essentially keep control over it if they turned it in. I didn't even think about that. They could be gigantic landlords getting in the landlord business. Wow. Yeah, that's
and can
something.
can they, I mean, not enforce, but I mean, what can they do? What can they push the religious views on these areas?
Yeah, you mentioned that too.
Of course, we want to say no.
Yeah, my first inkling is I think that's unethical because that comes into.
Is there incentivization though?
That's
incentivize,
right? Because you can't
same
turn.
thing is very unethical.
If someone was a Muslim and went in there and said, "I want to rent," they can't not rent to that person because of that reason.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, are you going to get pamphlets all the time? Are you going to get more people knocking on your door? Are you going to get,
or can they do something? Is that legal?
are they going to give, I don't know,
discounts?
Like discounts or food to, or, do you mean more of this or that? Or if they do attend or if they do tithe or things like this and that.
Yeah.
No idea. Just a thought.
Huh.
So not saying, I'm not reading, and for you guys watching, I'm not saying that this is something that they did say. It just makes me think.
Yeah.
AB 12, this is a big one. So this is essentially a hit to landlords. Landlords, I would love to know your thoughts on this that got signed, but this is limiting security deposits. So landlords now, effective June 2024, will not be able to take more than a month's rent for security deposits, where before most landlords are taking about 2 months rent.
First and last, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's usually the.
So this is a win for renters addressing affordability and accessibility challenges. Once again, this will go into effect June 2024. I don't think this is that big of a deal. I think landlords are going to be up in arms because they've had to deal with so much. I have a possible fourplex in Oakland that I might be listing, and what they have to go through.
Flex.
I'm just saying, I was doing more research on it.
Fourplex. I might be listening
It was, but I had to do more research on it, so that's why I'm realizing just like how much hoops they have to jump through to stay within their legal parameters, and how hard it is to consume all this information to make sure that you're doing everything legally. But I don't think this, among all the laws that landlords have to adhere to, I don't think this is that big of one, because if you're doing a good job as landlord, you really shouldn't need 2 months up front.
Meaning what?
Meaning that if something gets damaged, you know what I mean, and you haven't been there in over a year and you didn't catch that as a landlord and as you run your business, you know what I mean, you should be fine. Now, of course, once again, if you're screening your tenants properly up front before you put that tenant in there, that's on you. You know what I mean? If you're getting someone in there, you didn't run credit, you didn't do these things that you have to do as a landlord, it's your business.
Yeah.
You ran it that way. You decided to take the risk on somebody like that. And if they did trash it, yeah, you might not be able to, put that same deposit back as much, but you should be doing what you should be doing up front. So that's why I think not a big deal. Even me as a landlord, I don't feel like it's that big of a deal, but I'm sure because of all these things that have added up, and then them getting slammed with this on top of it, it's not going to make landlords feel good in California.
Do you think that the more doors a landlord owns, the more this will affect them, though? Because I feel like if you own, under 4 or 5 rentals, it's not going to be that big of a hit. But if you're someone who owns 50,
I think if you're someone who owns 50, then you have majority of the time some good systems down for what it takes to be a landlord.
Sure, of course.
Still,
but does that make it harder to do what you're suggesting, though, to like properly vet everyone if it's such a bigger thing?
I think it's. I mean, to me, it should be easier for you if you have
because you're like outsourcing and having those systems in place.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Personally, that's how I feel about it. I've just never had bad experiences because I've just done everything well. Yet. Personally. I think we're gonna go wrap though. This has been a good session.
It's been really good session.
Yeah, very informative.
I think so.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you guys thought about this episode. Hope you enjoyed us getting back to the basics of Bay Area, where we really like to focus in.
The Bay Area Basics.
I don't know if
podcast.
you're seeing me, Roland, because you can't look at me anymore since you decided not to anymore. But I'm really focusing in the binocs. That's short for binoculars, by the way, on the Bay Area as itself. And always remember, you guys, We try to come out with episodes every couple of weeks here. You can find us on YouTube. We're going to be posting on Spotify,
anywhere you can get a podcast,
Google Podcasts, whatever podcatcher you use.
We should be on there.
And of course, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well. If any of you out there have any questions about real estate as a whole or just Bay Area local questions, Roland and I are always here to help you. You can shoot a DM to wherever you're watching this. You can go to our personal Instagrams or TikToks as well. We'd love to have a conversation with you. If you just want to pick our brains, that's cool. If you want to yell at us and tell us we're wrong about something, that's cool too. We'd love to have a conversation with you. That's what we do in our jobs.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that we are addressing any concerns or questions y'all have out there. So please reach out if you have anything you need from us.
Yeah, and maybe you know of something that we don't know on here, right? Maybe my mind can only take so much information and think this might be interesting or that might be interesting, and maybe you guys have something that's way more interesting than this. Let us know. We'll bring it up. We'll talk about it. We'll even say your name and the fact that you brought it up. So we will see you guys on the next episode. Bay Area boys are out.